In today's review we're going to be looking at the Storm Speeder Hailstrike from the Space Marine Codex. Hello, welcome to the channel. Continuing on with our Space Marine reviews, we're going to be doing the Storm Speeder Hailstrike from the Space Marine Codex. So as always, before we get into the video, we're doing our shout out of the video going to Khan Kong to their comment relating to the stratagems that we did recently. Also guys, just a little heads up here, I'm going to be taking a week off of YouTube. I've been grinding it out for over a year now, so I think I'm due a little bit of a break. So don't worry, we will be back with more reviews and tactic videos. So getting on with today's videos, the Storm Speeder Hailstrike, one of the new 9th edition units, coming in at 8 power level or 135 points. And you're going to find this model within the fast attack section of the codex. On with the keywords of note, the only two that are really worth anything here are the fact that it's got the vehicle keyword and it can fly. As for the datasheet, it's got a movement of 16 inches, so it's pretty quick. Weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 5, toughness 6, wounds 10, attacks 3, leadership 7 and a 3+ save. So unfortunately this model does have a degrading stat line due to having 10 wounds or more. So the movement, the ballistic skill and the attacks characteristics are going to get dropped when it gets to 5 wounds, and then furthermore when it gets to less than 2 wounds. As for the abilities, pretty standard, Angels of Death. So the combat doctrines are going to get affected in terms of the actual AP for the weaponry. And it explodes due to the fact that it's a vehicle on a roll of a 6. And units within 6 will suffer D3 mortal wounds. And finally, if you're a Dark Angels player, if you take this unit, it's going to come with a Ravenwing keyword. So it's going to interact with your supplement with all the Ravenwing buffs, which we will go over later in the video within the chapter synergy section. As for the Wargear, it's got 2 Fragstorm grenade launchers, an Onslaught Gatling cannon, and a twin Iron Hail heavy stubber. So let's begin with the first one, the Fragstorm grenade launcher. You're getting 2 of those, 18 inches a pop, assault D6, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage with the blast keyword, going up to -1 AP in the tactical doctrine. So on average you're going to get 7 shots with this. But it does have blast, so potentially more. Only strength 4, so it's only really for light infantry. Against power armor or anything better than power armor, such as elite models with toughness 5 or with a 2+ armor save, it's not going to do a lot. But against gaunts, orc boys, guardians and whatnot, it's not too bad. It's then got the Onslaught Gatling cannon, a slightly longer range of 24-inch range, heavy 8, strength 5, -1 AP and 1 damage. Now this one's a heavy weapon, so in the first battle round, which is the Devastator Doctrine, it's going to go to a -2 AP. So it's got a little bit more of a punch, this one at strength 5, so you can now be firing this not just at light infantry units but the standard troops as well. But the only thing that I think that lets it down is the fact that it's only a 24-inch range, so you're going to have to get reasonably close. But hey, it's still 8 shots at the end of the day, it's not too bad. Then the twin Iron Hail heavy stubber. It's another 8 shots, it's a longer range, this one's 36-inch range, but it's only strength 4, -1 AP and 1 damage. Again in the Devastator Doctrine it goes to -2 AP. So overall, coming out of this unit, you've got 8 shots at strength 5, 8 shots at strength 4, then 2d6 shots at strength 4 as well. So roughly those 2d6 shots, as mentioned, should average around 7. So you're looking at an average of 23 shots coming from the unit. In fairness, it seems pretty good, especially if you're going against a faction that's got a lot of light infantry. Again, we're looking at orc boys, guardians, tyranids, that sort of thing. As for the actual damage output from those weapons, you're looking at about 8 to 9 guardians or orc boys, and if you're talking space marines, you're only looking at about 2 there. Anything more elite than that, I wouldn't bother targeting it because it's not really that sort of unit. As for some stratagems that you can use with this Hailstrike land speeder, you've got the armor of contempt because it's a vehicle, so any mortal wounds could be ignored on a 5+. You're probably not going to use this if I'm honest, but it's always there if you need it, especially on a faction that uses a lot of mortal wounds to bring your army down. Skilled riders because it's got the storm speeder keyword. If you advance with it and you're selected as a target of a ranged attack, then you're going to subtract 1 from the enemy's attack hit rolls. You're only really going to advance with it if you've got some sort of ability within your chapter to allow you to advance and still fire. Otherwise this is kind of a dead stratagem in my opinion. Then you've got hit and run warfare for 1 command point, again used on a storm speeder unit. If you fall back you're still eligible to shoot, which that one will be a lot more useful than the previous one because you don't really want to be in combat with this thing. It's got no melee. Yes, it can shoot into combat because it's a vehicle, but you're not choosing your actual target, so ideally you want to be out of combat to be able to shoot at your prime targets as opposed to something you're stuck with. As for some chapter synergy, Dark Angels are probably the main one here, with their +1 to hit if they remain stationary. They also get the Ravenwing keyword as standard, which means they're going to be able to get the Jinx save of a 5+ invulnerable save, and if it advances it will be a 4+ invulnerable save. And they've actually got a few stratagems that you could use, one of which being high speed focused, which will give you a 4+ invulnerable save even if you didn't move. Now in the Devastator Doctrine you can actually advance and shoot, so you'll be getting that 4+ invulnerable save while still firing. And then finally the targeting guidance stratagem, which is an army-wide +1 to hit at a selected unit, once you've actually targeted that unit with your Storm Speeder Hailstrike. Imperial Fist only really removed the light cover, there's not really much else going on with the Imperial Fist for this unit. And Iron Hands have got the Wrathful Machine Spirit stratagem to reroll the hit rolls, and of course all the Tech Marine buffs due to it being a vehicle heavy faction. Ultramarines have the fall back and shoot, which will probably be quite good for this unit because, again, as mentioned already, you don't want to be tagged in combat and not being able to escape without being able to still shoot. Raven Guard have got the Shadow Master, so you get the light cover save for more than 18 inches away, which is sort of where you should be really, because you don't want to be any closer than that. Your Fragstorm grenade launchers are 18 inches, so that's sort of where you want to be. Then finally the Death Watch for the mission tactics to mix up the doctrines. So it could be handy for your onslaught Gatling cannon in particular, because it's only got a 24-inch range. You may not actually be making the most out of the combat doctrine for that weapon. However, if you put it into turn 2, for example, as the heavy doctrine, you've got more chance of using it when you actually need it. And of course, they can reroll 1s to wound versus a set battlefield roll. As for unit synergy, there's not really much going on here. There's not much that can actually keep up with the unit, and the fact that it's also not got the core keyword, there's no point getting a bite character following up the board because they can't really buff him. But if it was a unit that's going to stay back, then of course a Tech Marine could be using the Blessing of the Omnisire to regain lost wounds, as well as giving it a +1 to the hit roll. But other than that, there's not really much else you can do with the Storm Speeder Hailstrike. So let's get on to the summary then. Starting with the good, it's got a good movement of 16 inches. And it's a very good anti-light infantry unit. Due to all those attacks that are strength 5 or less, it should easily be dealing with toughness 4 or less with the weaponry that it's got. Then lastly, it's got the fly keyword, so you can just pop him on some sort of terrain feature to prevent a lot of units charging the land speeder while you're still being able to fire. As for the bad, it's not core, so it's very difficult to buff. The Codex has got plenty of better anti-light infantry options, the Redemptor Dreadnought for example, or the ATV Invaders, they're just much better. And then the fact that this is toughness 6 with only 10 wounds, it means it won't last long, especially with no in-run save. It will very easily get shot off the board and there won't be much you can do about it. So it sticks out like a sore thumb, you can't really hide it that easily. Then it doesn't really do much to toughness 6 or more, it's not got any high strength weaponry. I would say it's due to the fact that you've got no upgrade options, but there are other Storm Speeder options that you could take, which we'll do in another review video later in the year. Then finally it's got that degrading stat line, which you have to penalise when you're doing a review. So as for the rating today, I'm going to be giving it a Planet 40k rating of 2 stars. Not one that I'll be using unfortunately, but if your meta is against a lot of horde units such as Tyranids or Orcs, then it's not the worst option, but against the current metas it's probably not the best. So guys, that's the review today. Give me a week for a vacation and we'll be back with more Space Marine reviews and tactic videos. Don't forget to drop a like on your way out and sub if you are new. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you next time.